Yeah, absolutely. I mean, women have a really tough time with it because it definitely is it's a male hormone, and so with women you get a lot of deepening of the voice and a lot of masculine features, and I think women that decide to take that plunge, it's a very interesting plunge to take because it's kind of an irreversible thing to do to yourself, and so when you decide to do that, my roommate right now is actually the world's strongest woman. And she is such an awesome person, probably like the best person I know. And she has squatted over 800 pounds, bench pressed over 600 pounds. But she has, she actually is pretty feminine for being the world's strongest woman, because there's definitely some, like the woman in my movie says, I like to stay feminine, I still look like a woman, like, who doesn't look like a woman at all. Now, my roommate doesn't have that problem at all. She's still feminine, but she's still 210 pounds, and she's still pretty big girl, So I mean, it's tough for her to get a date, and that's a choice that she makes when she decides that she wants to be the world's strongest woman, And when she decided that she wanted to do that, she was in a relationship and about to get married, and really not thinking about, what if I'm not in a relationship? What if I'm not about to get married? And what if I have to go looking for a soulmate down the road? So there definitely are those important factors of life that you need to think about before you do something that's going to alter your body forever. And as a man, it's a little bit different because you can kind of go back and you can lose the weight, and you can, your sperm count goes back up, and different, all the things that happen are basically temporary and reversible for the most part. There's some things that aren't, but they're pretty small in comparison. Okay.
What backlashes have you had for the movie as far as any legal things that happened afterwards, or people getting mad for what you put out there?
There was, while we were making the film, we did have a couple run-ins with some of Arnold's people who definitely didn't want him to be a part of the film process, and definitely didn't know that we were the guys on Venice Beach that day, that they had no idea. They were I'm sure when the movie came out they were pretty upset about it. Gold's Gym kind of backlashed against us because they're a very corporate company, but I love Gold's Gym and I still work out there every day. I just have, there's some people in management that don't like me all that much because I never even said anything bad about their gym, but they feel it gives them a negative image, So there's been some sort of backlash like that. One lady just kept ranting about on the internet how she was beat by her husband because he was on steroids and he had roid rage. And I just, my simple answer to her at Sundance was, roid rage is not a medical condition. Roid rage is a term that the media has made up in order to describe what they think exists when a man takes steroids. However, it's not a medical condition, it's not a diagnosed medical condition, and there's no actual scientific proof of it. And then she basically ranted on how I was insensitive to her and all these other, different things. And that went on for a while until the audience basically booed her out of the building because she didn't really have anything to stand on except for the fact that it's an anecdotal case, and obviously you feel for the woman, and you definitely feel for her in that position, but it's an anecdotal case of maybe she was dating an asshole to begin with, and she didn't know it, or maybe, it definitely could have something to do with steroids, because there are definite cases of increased aggression when people use steroids, but for her to sit in a Q&A and argue it with me for 20 minutes, it didn't really make any sense. It didn't feel like you were going to get anywhere with the issue. And, I think that what I would like to see when you say the backlash and all this stuff like that is just if you want to stop, the backlash and stop the, let's just do more studies. Let's get more information. Let's have more people doing research. What happens is all these different universities and different places that can be doing this research always, they get shut down. They have a hard time getting funding for any sort of research on steroids because, they say, well, how are we going to do this? It's unethical to give somebody steroids. And it's look how many guys are, if I said, who in here wants to try steroids, whatever, you'll get a certain amount of people that want to do it. So it's and they do medical studies on everything. And that's the thing I don't understand, is they do it on everything, but when it comes to steroids, they always say it's gonna be an unethical study to do, and I don't understand why that's any more unethical than Viagra or something else, you know, so.